Shalom, shalom, Israel. What's going on? Yeshua Israel back at it. Apologize for not putting this video up earlier. My YouTube account was messed up. It started working last week, but I didn't get a chance to get around to the video. But before that, the live wasn't working. I couldn't upload anything. I was testing that out, but it seems to be good now. So let's get at it. So what we're going to talk about today is Veganites are retarded. People that call themselves religious vegans or vegans because the Most High told them we're supposed to be vegans, which is not true. And we're just going to get into that and debunk all of that, because I don't know if people are retarded or they're just not reading correctly. They want to hold on to one verse like Christian Israelites do and say that's the end all be all, and we're just going to go ahead and get into that today. Now, the first verse, we're going to start off right in Genesis 1, where the Bible starts, and we're going to stay in Torah the whole entire way. We're not going to get confused with any other verses outside the Torah or anything, because all that doesn't matter. So remember, hit the like button, hit the video. I am live now. I know a lot of people might be busy right now, but hey, go ahead, watch the video later on. It's okay. Like, hit the subscribe. You see the notification bell, hit that too. I'm no longer on social media, just on YouTube, so if you can't find me, just find me on YouTube. I'll be here. Just click that notification bell, and you'll hopefully get the updates of when I'm live or when I upload a video. So the first thing I want to get into is Genesis 1, and we're going to start. We all know the story of how the beginning. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right to verse 29 and 30. I'm only jumping around because this is real specific. None of the other stuff beforehand doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about. So when we started Genesis 1:29, this is the verse that all these vegan Israelites or Veganites or whatever you want to call them that are saying the Most High only told us to be vegans is this the verse right here. So it says, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." Now this is the verse they like harking on to and say, oh, there's nowhere it says we should be eating animals. Now, of course, that's what it says, but they're using this one verse to spin around the entire Torah, and everything else is just false, or either it's another God or someone else rewriting the Torah, which isn't true, because there's a lot of stuff in the Torah that backs this statement up, and also is the exact opposite, which the Most High has said to what they're claiming that He said. So they read verse 129, but they don't even go to the next verse. "And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat," and it was so. So you're telling me the beasts of the earth and all the animals, the Most High gave them the green herb, just like He told us in the previous verse. So you gotta see that there's other animals that are carnivores as well. You know what I'm saying? There's animals that eat meat. So you're telling me that all the animals are vegans? No, that's not true. So you guys are reading this out of context. The Most High is just telling us just a broad statement saying, I've given you all these things on the earth which yield seed, and there's a green herb I've given you for meat. This is just a broad statement telling us this is what He's given us, and it doesn't end there. So it doesn't end there for us, and didn't end there for the animals. You know what I'm saying? You can't just look at one verse just because it's in Genesis 1 and saying, oh, that's what the Most High intended us to eat. Like, no, man, that's retarded. And we're going to keep going and really see what the Most High is saying. So Genesis 9, they don't want to go to this one because this is where it just totally obliterates whatever their thinking is. So you go to Genesis 9:3, "Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb with I have given you all things. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat." So you already see in verse 3, He said, "Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb I have given you all things." Now this isn't talking to the animals, this is talking to the man. So the man, we're allowed to eat the animals. The Most High gave us permission to do that. And not only permission to do that, he wants it done as well. I'm going to keep getting into that. And if you read verse 3 and you go back to Genesis 1, where it says, even as the green herb I've given you all things. So in Genesis 1, what do we read? I've given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree which is a fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. So you go back to Genesis 9:3, even as the green herb I've given you all things. So this is attached to what he was saying in Genesis 1. So you can't detach those two statements at all, because he specifically said, I've given you all the living things on the face of the earth. I've given you for meat. Moving things being the animals. Of course, we can't eat all animals, but we can eat animals. But the flesh with life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. Now, what does that mean? We're going to get into that, because this is where you start breaking it down, why we're allowed to eat the meat, specifically certain meats that are clean. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. So you go to Leviticus 17. Now, I'm not trying to make this video long, because this topic is real simple. If you can't understand it, then that's on you. So Leviticus 17, and we're going to go down to 10 through 14. And we start at verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any matter of blood, I will set my face against that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for all your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Therefore I said to the children of Israel, no, none of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourn among you eat blood. And whatsoever man there of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof, and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of the flesh. For the life of the flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. So if you go to verse 13, he said, pour the blood and cover it with dust. So you pour it on the earth. You don't eat it. You don't chew. You don't, drink it, whatever you call it. You leave it alone. So when you're cooking it, there's supposed to be no blood. This is why you go back to Genesis 9, and Genesis 9 and 3, he specifically said, but the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. So when you look at Genesis, you look at Leviticus. Leviticus is the laws that Israel had. We were a nation once we came out of Egypt. Before that, Genesis and a little bit right before Exodus, we had no specific laws, because there was no nation. It was just Shem. So a lot of the stuff that they learned before was never given to them in a structure as we got it as a nation towards the end of the book of the Torah, of the book of the law. So keep that in mind, and we're going to go to Leviticus 3. So we already know why we can't eat the blood, because the blood is the life, and you can't and you read it, you can't mix the life with the flesh. Because why? Because the blood is to be given, put on the altar for your sins, which restoreth the soul. So when you sacrifice and you offer it to the Most High, that's what the blood is doing. So you're not supposed to use the blood at all. You're not supposed to eat blood at all. You go to Leviticus 17, 10 through 14, and whoever shall eat the blood shall be cut off. And now we're going to get to Leviticus 3, verse 12 through 17. And if his offerings be a goat, we're going to start at verse 12. Then he shall offer it before Yah, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of it, and kill it before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the sons of Aaron shall sprinkle the blood thereof upon the altar round about. And he shall offer thereof his offering, even an offering made by fire unto Yah, the fat that covereth his inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver. With the kidneys it shall he take away. So already, when you eat animals, We already know you basically can't eat the organs. Anything with the liver, the kidneys, should be taken away. And the fat of the animal is given up inwards. The Most High wants the fat. So when the fat is burning, that's what the Most High want. That's what the Most High wants, the sweet Savior. So when you go to verse 5, when they burnt sacrifice, and it's made by fire of the sweet savor of unto Yah, the Most High actually wants, he loves that smell of us cooking, basically. And he tells us not to eat the blood, not to eat the fat, not to eat the kidneys, not to eat the liver, all that. We just eat the meat, because the meat with the blood is the life. And you can't eat the life and the flesh together. Now you're becoming like a caveman, and you see all these people that actually cooking their food all the way. And this will be a perpetual statute for all your generations through all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood. So there's nowhere in the book of the law where the Most High says you can't eat animals, because he gives us specific reasons why we can't eat animals. And what I'm going to get into next, if you're understanding this, I'm going to show you why we're allowed to eat meat, just based on science, and basically why meat and eating animals is basically the same. All you gotta do is remove the blood. So if you look at this chart right here, this is I'm gonna put up as large as possible. You have the human blood hemoglobin, and you have the plant chlorophyll. So the human blood and the animals and how blood circulates in the human is one thing, and then we have the chlorophyll, which the plants take on as well. And you can actually see these two molecular structures. They're made up of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me show you 1 minute. So you have the chlorophyll. They're both similar. The hemoglobin and the chlorophyll are both similar. But the main difference between the two is that the chlorophyll is built around magnesium, and for blood, it's built around iron. So in humans, our molecular structure for hemoglobin is built around iron, and for plants, the chlorophyll with the same structure. You can see all the scientific molecules are the same, and you can see it's built around magnesium. And the main difference between them is that the chlorophyll is built around magnesium, which I said, and for the hemoglobin to transfer oxygen around the blood. So the hemoglobin is composed of all elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, all four organized around iron, which is the same thing, but it's organized around magnesium. So let me go ahead and show you this real quick. So this is the human body, and I'll put independent. So if you look at it, this is why I wrote independent. If you look at a human, we're able to operate independently. We don't need, of course we need oxygen that comes into us, and we can take in vitamins, but we don't need to take in vitamins, or we don't need to take in any other source of energy from outside to help our body operate. We have our own lungs, we have our own blood circulatory system. So when you have that, this is why the blood is the life, because without the blood pumping, there's no life. You know what I'm saying? This is why the Most High says, pour the blood out, because if you have the blood with the flesh, then you're basically still eating you're still eating something that's living. You get what I'm saying? And with the plant, this is why their structures are the same, because with the plant, it's really dependent on the outside. It doesn't have any blood. You know what I'm saying? So this is why you can cut a plant off and have it in your fridge and not worry about draining any blood, because once you cut it off, you're taking away all the dependency which it needs to actually survive. With a plant, it's dependent on water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. The chlorophyll takes the sunlight in, which is keeps the plant living and keeps it growing and keeps it green. You know what I'm saying? It's dependent. It doesn't have its own blood circulatory system with organs and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if it actually did, if plants didn't need a light source, if they didn't need water to stay alive, it would have blood in it as well. You get what I'm saying? So if you think about that, we would have to drain the blood out of plants as well if it wasn't dependent on outside sources. So you can see us as living human beings and plants were basically the same. And the only difference between us as humans and eating animals, we have to drain the blood so we're not eating the life of the blood. The Most High never said anything about we can't eat animals. And this is not a video about going into specifics about what animals we can eat. Of course, there's clean and unclean animals. You can go ahead and research that yourself. This is not what this video is about. This is just talking about idiots who are putting words in the Bible that's not supposed to be there. And if you can't understand it, you can't read it, then stop talking about it and stop telling other people what the Most High is saying, because you don't understand the Bible at all. This is all I got to say right now. Remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, share the video. And that's pretty much all I have to say right now. And you just go over, just research it yourself. You know what I mean? You can research all this yourself. Clearly, the chlorophyll in the plant, which is the same biological structure as a blood hemoglobin, is basically the same. So if there's no light, there's no structure, there's no water going to the plant, it's basically the same as being dead. You don't have to be worried about anything because it doesn't operate on itself. A human and an animal can operate by itself with the blood. This is why you drain the blood. You can't eat organs and you can't eat the fat. Boom. Simple as that. So that's all I have to say. If you understand it, good for you. If you don't understand it and you want to keep believing this vegan doctrine, go ahead. That's what you. Just make sure you eat meat when the Most High tells you to eat it. I'm gone. Peace.